Implementation, sources of data. Okay. You start out with an intro sentence, discuss the different survey and interview guides. So you have your demographic survey that does age, gender, and so on and so forth. And you always want to put, and the demographic survey is for to ensure that the participants fall into the inclusion criteria. And you're going to you're going to introduce your interview guide and give it an acronym, and then you use the acronym for the rest of the paper. And you basically, about 2 to 3 sentences, reiterating again why this is important. The questions will, the interview guide items will produce rich data to examine blah, 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 blah. Transformational leadership of da-da-da. So it's kind of like there's a tad of fluff, but it's basically just reminding them that you're staying on track. You're staying on track. This is what I'm doing. I'm staying on track. Okay. Discuss the reasons for developing your interview guide and your demographic questions. I kind of just went over that same thing. You just want to have a rationale, a sentence or two, a rationale for everything you do that points back to making sure that it's important. Okay. That's it. So basically, realistically, that is about maybe a paragraph or two at the most. So we're skipping over the validity and reliability, the trustworthy of the study. We're getting rid of that. And then we're on to data collection. Okay. Percy, and Coster now really come back in, and their data collection is not the greatest, but it's a good start. The data analysis is exactly how you're going to do it. So realistically, the beginning of this, you introduce the instrumentation and your interview guide again. Okay. There's a demographic survey that does age, gender, and so on and so forth. And the interview, whatever you interview, the transformation leadership interview guide, you use your acronym. Okay. And then you can integrate it into 2 sentences if you want, but you just want to tell a little bit about both, not what actually it's going to say. Okay. You've already introduced your interview guide, and then it'll say the data collection process proceeded as follows. Okay. And then it's detailed. Now, this is where I'm going to say that you do this before you actually do it. So you're always doing your best you can to make sure that everything is highlighted there the best you can. It may switch when you're in the process, and everybody knows that. It's not a big deal. If it completely gets blown up and you go somewhere else, now we have to go back and rewrite that section. But let's say you're at the convention and you say you're going to do it in a quiet room and you actually did it out in the hallway, it doesn't matter. That portion is not going to matter. Okay? So when you're writing this up, it's and pretty much you're going to keep this the same for all of them. Okay? Data collection, it starts from when you actually recruit the person from the beginning.
Okay.
So recruited the individual off of, since you're doing it across the nation, in that data collection portion of it, you're going to need, I didn't add this in here, you need to highlight where you're getting the information on these bodies.
Okay.
Friends, wherever you got it from. So if you got it from a database or something like that, or from the handbook or wherever you got it from, you need to kind of allude to that at this point. We may put that in the sample selection, but at this moment we're going to put it in the data collection at the beginning. Kind of like tell everybody the participants were drawn from the list of active Christian college athletic directors from the national office, whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So you're introduce the instrumentation. You're going to do that. Make sure you tell where you're grabbing your participants actually from, and then the data process starts from basically you sent out and email with asking for their participation. Okay, and you were going to then like the next step would be once accepted, the demographic survey was sent out. Once you no, I'm sorry, the consent form would go out. Then it would come back, and once the consent form is returned, they got the demographic survey. Demographic survey was analyzed for inclusion criteria, offered the opportunity to be a part of the interview process, and that's just the very beginning. And then you'd have to have one for like the convention. So you'd have two. You'd have one that was just general, and then you have one at the convention site, because it's going to change a little bit, because you're gonna have a area to set up the table. You're gonna set up a table and offer them the opportunity to take the do the consent form, and then the and then do the survey, and then offer them the opportunity to meet at a different time. Okay, and then your data collection. The rest of the data collection is once you get started. So they've already done the consent form at the very, very beginning before they did the demographic survey. So you don't have to worry about that in the second. But now you're talking about when you go to sit down to do the interviews.
Right.
And you kind of do research on this and the dissertation, how they wrote this up. And it's just a step-by-step process. Welcome to the interview. Talked again about the consent form and remind them that they signed the consent form earlier. Asked them if they had any questions about the consent form or any questions at all. Had a little bit of small talk. Then you went into turned on the recorder. Told them to turn on the recorder. It's this simple. Told them you're going to turn on the recorder. Turned on the recorder. And then for interviews, it's really easy. It's like, asked the interview questions and turned off the tape recorder, and what was the last one be? Thanked the participant for their time, and asked them if they had any questions, and then thank you for their time, and told them what the next steps would be.
So you're saying you would specify all that in this section?
Oh yeah,
you got to put all those details. Okay,
got to put all in it. Now, when you go to do it, it'll never be perfect.
Right.
But it's the general.
It gives you the blueprint for what you're going to do.
Gives you the blueprint.
Okay.
So like you're going to have two sections, one for regular, one for convention, and then that last portion would be the actual interview, what you're going to do for the interview. And that's pretty easy. You're basically welcoming them and you're telling them what you're going to do, talk about the consent form again, ask them if they have any questions, start the tape recorder, do the interview, ask them if they have any questions, tell them a little bit about what's coming up after, what will happen in the future, and then thank them, and you're done. A little bit different than the 15,000 things you have to do for a regular survey. Okay. Once that's done, and then of course you tell them and then your next paragraph is what's going to happen next for you. Transcription, data analysis. How are you going to do the data analysis for your demographic survey? And I can help you with that part. How will all this be performed? Okay. Because pretty much when you're done, you're going to take the audio files, have them transcribed, and then you're moving on to data analysis stuff. And then you're going to reiterate again how this data will be stored and destroyed. Okay. And again, that's another one I'll help you with to make life real easy on that one. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Last section, data analysis. Intro sentence. Okay. Real simple. Very simple intro sentence. It's going to talk about the data analysis with constant comparison from Percy. And then in the Percy document, there are 13 steps. You're going to reword all 13 of those steps. And that's it.
Okay.
So, I mean, that portion is real easy. You just got to reword. You can't use it word for word.
Right.
It's paraphrased.
That's the process. Yeah.
That's the process. It's exactly what you're going to do. Okay. And then pretty much that's it. If we need to add anything after that, we'll be good. So I mean, it's little bite-sized pieces that kind of intertwine each other. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this video, which is only like 45 minutes long, so I might be able to splice it real quick.
Okay.
Splice it up, and then once that's done, I'll get that to you. I might just send it as a MP4 file and not upload it to YouTube because it might transfer better, but I don't know. If not, I'll put it on YouTube, send you the links for them, and then basically start with start at research design, or statement of the problem, or research questions and research methodology. Start there. Don't wait till you're all done to send it to me. Because remember, each one of these sections stands on their own 2 feet.
Okay.
So like when you've done statement of the problem, research question, research methodology, send that off.
And I should just send this to just you until we get kind of to the end. Is that right?
Just to me.
Okay.
Yeah, just to me. And then once you get then once that's done, you can start working on your research design and sample population, and then send that to me. Then work on instrumentation, data collection, and just send me once something's kind of done, or just as soon as you're done with your research design, send it to me. That way I can edit it and put it into its own file called research design. What I did for this when I was working with Dr. Lawrence was that I had a file on my computer, and it started with not the introduction, but it started with what is that? A research methodology. So I had a file for research methodology, research design, study population, in each of the sections of the headings.
Were their own.
When I was done, I'd send that to her. She'd go over, because each of them stand on their own 2 feet.
Okay.
So it's not like everything has to intertwine. So once it's done, you just send me that. And actually, you could copy and paste that right into an email.
Okay.
That way you don't have to send me no files or anything else. Once it's done, if you think it's done, copy and paste it in, because I'll copy and paste it into better you send it to me in a Word document, so then I can make the edits.
Okay.
Send it to me in a Word document. Text me and tell me it's in there.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll get on it right away, because if you nail it, then realistically, I was done with my research once I got the hang of it. I was done in about 4 or 5 days, not 8 hours a day, but about an hour or two a day, and I was just able to just start banging these things out in this section.
Okay.
So, and it's a step-by-step process. So I'm going to send you my written notes. I'm going to try and bust up this video real quick and get it to you in its rough form. And we'll be good.
All right. That'll be really great. That'll get me going.
Get stuck. Here's the big one now. If you get stuck, text me.
Okay.
A 2-second phone call can break through a wall.
Okay.
Yes, I know it's a lot of stuff that you got in an hour.
Okay.
So if something just doesn't make sense, I don't care. Just give me a call. I'll go over it real quick with you again, get you going again, and then the ball gets going. All right?
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Heinzen. I appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy. Give me a holler once you need me.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. We'll see you. All right. Bye-bye.